Hello 1991 subscribers. In today's video I will show you very simple but yet effective AI chatbot for a non-profit organization that we're planning to work with. As always, I will share the goals for this AI integration, how I acquired the client, what they expect, as well as the backend of the assistant so that you can see how everything works. Two disclaimers from my side. The first one, this is the client that is still under the signing process, so we haven't started the final development. Just letting you know, they are okay if I share the prototype on my YouTube, so it's all good. Second, this is a great illustration that you do not need to build very complex AI solutions in order to make money in the industry. You just need to find the right company with the right problem at the right time and match it with your AI skill to fix the problem that they have with something that you can develop. The company called Kirudyushin, it's a nonprofit organization, as I said, that support families and connect people, usually parents that have a child with the disease with the right treatment and clinical trials. They have a website that has pretty good amount of monthly visitors. And currently, the main call to action on the website is to book a call with a specialist. This is just one-on-one call. Currently, they book 25 to 30 calls per week. And they're looking for an AI solution that will proactively engage with their visitors and improve the conversion rate, which in their case is a booking percentage. So let's say 5% of the audience that visit their website is going to engage. It means that we will have 4,000 conversions a month, meaning conversations started with the AI agent. Obviously, not all of them going to be deep. So it means that sometimes people will just start the conversation or maybe ask like a very simple question, but they will not go in depth asking questions and clarifying the intent to get something from the AI. Let's say 10% is the realistic number that we can expect. Means that we'll have approximately 400 leads, and the leads are essentially the people that are actually proactively looking for something, for an answer usually. And out of this 400 people, if the 20% will book a one-on-one call, we'll have approximately 80 bookings. So as you can see, we will improve the conversion rate by 2 to 3 times. And it's a huge deal because, again, they have a very specific business model. Obviously, this is a nonprofit organization, but they have, a lot of things going on. So if they double the amount of people they talk to, it will benefit them a lot. Now, let me show you how the Voiceflow setup works. We have a chat window on the website, and when person engage with the AI, we will have two different intents. At least for right now, this is how the prototype is structured. We'll have a general intent and the booking intent. It means that if a person has a question about specific problem or a trial or about Kirudyushin, we will send him to a general intent. When in general flow, when he wants to book a conversation with the actual person, we have a separate booking flow that they will go through. Obviously, the general flow primarily connects to the Voiceflow Knowledgebase to provide an answer, maybe when a person says, "Hi, how are you?" stuff like that. It will also be considered as general, but we do not need to connect to the knowledge base in order to provide a reply. But usually the AI will connect to the Voiceflow knowledge base through the query APIs and then provide a response back. For the booking, we will first get all the details before booking a call. Then we'll have a Calendly option to book the conversation. So it will be a chat window embed. So it's not like the link and they need to go to the separate website. This is an embed where they can click and choose the time that they need. And then we will actually have, the call booked. And once the call booked, all the information will be transferred to Airtable, because here we are collecting all the information about this client inside our chat. And then when they book a conversation, we need to actually match the booking with the information they provided, and we'll do that inside the Airtable. This is how Voiceflow setup looks. As you can see, it's not super complicated. It's pretty straightforward and similar to what we already built for our previous AI agents. By the way, a quick note, this template will be available for free in my resource hub. As always, first link in the description. Go there and you can just download it, paste it to your project, and use it however you want. The first step is setting up the API key, since we are going to call the knowledge base of the Voiceflow agent to provide an answer. And then we're setting up the bot persona. This is like a description for an AI. For usually we put it in the system prompt so that AI knows what is the company that it works for additional context. Don't pay too much attention to the JavaScript. It's just made to clear the variables when we restart the conversation. Now, this is a very simple intro. The goal is to greeting the user with a simple rules on providing one sentence, adding one emoji, being creative and professional. Then we are updating the memory. This is, as always, if you watched any of my previous tutorials, this is one of the most important functions in the agent. You will be able to find it in functions. Again, when you copy my template, you can just export it. So when you click here, export, and then you can go to your project and import it. The idea is that this function saves everything into one variable. So it saves the whole conversation history into the custom memory variable so that then we can reference it further throughout the conversation. Then we have one agent. Currently, we call them agents. So as you can see, we have two. Obviously, these are not the agents. These are just the prompts with the set AI step. But the goal for them is to do a very specific thing. And usually after such an agent, we have a conditional block that verify the information. So for example, here we have an intent classification agent. It means that instead of using internal intents of the Voiceflow, because you kind of have the intents here that you can create, with the same approach, you can say this is the general intent and this is the booking intent. So when something gonna happen, it will match the utterance with the intent. I personally do not like to use it, since I like a bit more customization options inside the builder. That's why we are using usually the set AI step that classifies the intent of the user with the huge prompt. You go again, either copy it from my template or just stop and see. The idea is that here in the rules we say, hey, your goal is only provide the intent name and the types of intent that we have, either general, when user says something like, hi, how are you, what's the weather, or what products do you sell, where are you located. So everything related to company, the questions, whatever, we will classify this as a general intent, and we are asking AI to output the word general and save it in the intent variable. Or if a person wants to schedule a booking or talk to a real human, we will save schedule word in the intent variable, right? When person says something like, can I schedule a call, or how do I book a call? So all these things. And then these are, additional parameters. We provide the last user utterance, which was, saved here, as well as the conversation history, so that AI knows, okay, so what is the stage of the conversation, so that it can reference it, and it doesn't necessarily needs to only look at the last utterance. Then we have a conditional block where we check, okay, so if the intent is general, equals to general, it means that the user asked a question which is related to general intent, go here. Or if the intent is schedule, it means that the person wants to schedule a call or a conversation with a real human, and we'll send the user into two separate flows. The first flow is calling the knowledge base of the agent first, and then actually replying to the user question. As you can see, again, we're not using the response AI and using the knowledge base as a data source. I already explained in my previous tutorials why we do that, but to make it short, it's made for us to have 100% control over each and every step of the flow. So we have a simple, API endpoint to the Voiceflow knowledge base. We are authorizing using the Voiceflow API key, which was set up here. And then here we are, providing just a simple body with where the question is last utterance, the system prompt, temperature, the model, so all these things. Now we will have 3 chunks which might be related to the user utterance. Then we have a JavaScript that put all these chunks together, and then we have another set AI step. So the goal of this step is to actually respond to the user query. So essentially we're asking, hey, please reply to the user question based on the conversation history as well as the knowledge base. These are the guidelines. And now here is the last user utterance, which was provided here. Here is the knowledge base context, which we received here and saved in KB context variable. If it is available, obviously when a user will say something like hi, obviously this knowledge base will be called, but it will not respond with any chunks since it's just hi. It's not a question. So it will be empty. And then we are providing conversation history so that it can also take it into the consideration when replying to the user query. And we are saving everything into the reply, and then we are outputting the reply variable. And essentially this will be an answer to the user question. You can ask, okay, Eugene, so why you don't use the response AI? It's going to be the same thing. Yes, but the problem is that, as you can see, this is like a huge prompt. And if we, paste it in the response AI step, it's going to be huge, and it's just harder to manage the flow with such a huge block. Okay, then we are waiting for the user reply, updating the memory again, and then going back to the intent classification, because maybe user will ask something once, and then when he receives the reply, he will want to book an actual conversation with someone. Now, when we classify the intent as a schedule, it means that the user wants to talk to someone, we have another agent. The goal of this agent is to analyze if we have enough information about the user to continue to the booking. We do not want to book a conversation with a specialist without receiving all the information. So it's like pre-qualifying the prospect, right? So we need to understand first that we can actually, help. And obviously it's not identifying and it's not qualifying the prospect here. It's just receiving all the information. And then when the booking will be made, all the qualification will be done inside Airtable manually by the specialist, because he will have a booking as well as all the details about this specific client. So the idea is that we're asking, okay, so you need to understand if the user provided enough information, and if he did provide enough information, output 1. And if he did not provide information, you need to ask a question to get it, right? So it's either 1 or a question. And this is the information that we need about, the user case. These are the rules, guidelines, last utterance, and conversation history as always. This is, again, the conditional block. And here, as you can see, we're saving, either 1 or the question inside the enough info variable. And now we're checking, okay, so if the enough info variable contains 1, it means that we have all information we need and we can process to the booking, right? But if we don't have 1, it means that the variable has a question and we need to output this question, capture the user reply, update the memory, and then go back here. So this is very simple, right? So we are outputting the question and then we are updating the custom memory variable, and then we're going back and AI will requalify and re-ask itself if we have everything or not. When we have everything and the enough information contains 1, it will ask the user to book one-on-one appointment through the Calendly embed. So you can embed an iframe in the Voiceflow. As you can see, this is not a native Voiceflow block. This is just a text block that you can find here, message block, sorry, it's called message right now. So, and here you provide an iframe. Again, guys, this thing will be in my resource hub. So just, copy and use it in your project. And here you actually, change the URL of the booking link. So this is my Calendly. We usually, I usually for my agency I use call.com, so I don't really use Calendly. And I wanted to use call.com for this specific case, but they actually, use Calendly themselves. So they, have multiple users and it's just easier, to do it using Calendly in their case. So we'll paste obviously their URL in the final development. Then the problem is that, and maybe at some point of time we will figure this out, it can be figured out technically using an integration with something like Make, but it's going to be a hassle and I don't think that it's necessary, at least at this stage. So when the let's say the booking here will be made, the bot will not do anything, right? So when we choose the time and book the actual slot, the Voiceflow will not have this information. So Voiceflow will just, wait for something to happen. That's why here we have, okay, so when you book the time, please click I booked it. And we technically can make, some sort of a JavaScript that will interact after the conversation has been booked. Again, it's a mess, so I don't think that it's necessary, at least at this stage. And then we're asking, okay, so please, since you already booked the call, please provide us the supporting documents, test medical reports and clinical trials that you already have been, done maybe. And we're using the file upload custom action, which will allow users to upload the file inside the conversation. And I'll show you later on how it's going to work, because they would want to provide some documents. And instead of asking for these documents on the one-on-one call, we are asking them in advance so that a specialist can go through them and again, qualify the prospect. And, and that's it. There will be like an additional step that will send all the information to the Airtable. So, but for this, for the sake of this prototype, we'll keep it very simple so that, you can see how everything works. And I have the Airtable set up in my other YouTube tutorial so that you can see how we would do that. If you look at their website, they don't have anything embed just yet, since this is just the prototype. We haven't started to work with them. So usually to show the client how the AI would look on their website, we are embedding the agent through the inspect element. So here's how you can do that. You right click and do the inspect, and here you go to the console and you need to embed like a script so that it shows here on the right. Obviously, if you're gonna publish the chatbot and it will go to embed the widget, copy this widget and paste it here, it's not gonna work because it's not expecting this specific script. You need to modify it a little bit. So if you look closely here on the left, I have this specific script which has been modified in order to work on the external website. So if we copy the script, again, it will be, guys, it will be in my resource hub so that you can use it. If you embed this thing and press enter, this chatbot bubble will pop up, and if you click on it, you will be able to talk to an agent the same way how you would do that if you would fully deploy the chatbot on the website backend of the client. And in order to remove this thing, we can inspect it and maybe find the element and just click delete. Okay, so obviously if you're gonna reload, it will disappear, but here we can start chatting with this agent, and it looks like the real chatbot. And this is a benefit of using something like an inspect element, where you can give the client a feeling of how the solution would actually look like on the website, and you can change obviously the logo to match their logo as well as the color, so it does look like the solution that will be finally deployed on their website. Okay, so we will go through the chatbot so that you can see how everything works in a second, but I want to mention a few more things regarding the backend. So here, as you can see, as I said, we're doing an API call to the Knowledgebase. And if you go to the Knowledgebase, it's not finalized. This is just, it was actually updated 18 days ago. But we have two things. We have just a regular text which is formatted in Markdown, as well as the tabular data inside the Knowledgebase. On the website, they have different types of drugs which are currently available for reference. They are still populating this data essentially like every week, and our goal was to train AI on this data and provide this data to the Knowledgebase. So you can obviously just copy this thing, Control-C, and go here and kind of paste it as just a simple text. But it's not going to work, so it will mess up the numbers. And this is not something that we want, especially with the medical things. That's why we need to use the Voiceflow tabular data. So as you can see, this is how it looks. And if you click on it, we have, like these are essentially like cells, and the cell has its own values, and these are like separate chunks. So there is no way to upload a table or a tabular data through the Voiceflow interface. Their only way to do that is by using the Voiceflow APIs. You can go to Voiceflow documentation API and find everything you need there. But also I will have this specific call as well as this script in my resource hub, so you can just copy and paste. The idea is that we are using the this endpoint to upload table, to upload a tabular data to our backend. So in the headers, we're using just a simple authorization, and in the body, so this is how the data should be structured. So there is a name and there is a schema, and the schema are like, these are kind of like a columns, right? The class, description, and acceptability. And if you look closely, so there's a class somewhere. No, this is actually, yeah. So this is actually the script from, another bot. So don't worry about it. But it works like the same. So we would have here, we have the mechanism, company, drag, and status. So we will have here the four fields, for like columns, and for each column we'll have, okay, so the class, description, stability. So we'll fill out this information. So how I would suggest you to do that, especially if you have like bigger tables, you just Control C, Control A, Control C. Okay, so it will be in my resource hub. You copy it, go to something like Claude or ChatGPT and say, hey, let's say you will export this as the CSV and say, hey, ChatGPT, this is my CSV. Can you please create a body request in this format and paste this format? So it will create a huge, chunk of text of the information, and you just go to Postman, put your endpoint, put your headers in the body, you delete this one and paste the one that was generated by ChatGPT, click send, and it will be uploaded here so that you can ask the questions, right? So this is how you would upload the tabular data into your knowledge base. When you are working with a simple information from the website, obviously you can just get the URL and go to here, and go to the URLs, input the URL and whatever, like it will scrape the information. But how I would suggest you to do that is to go to something like Firecrawl, and here, for example, put the link and click run. It is, you would need to, I think, get the paid version to export like multiple, hundreds of pages, but it should not be a problem. It's probably like $10 or $15. It will scrape the information from the website, from the web page, and will structure the info in the markdown format so that it's easier for AI to understand it, so that it's not just a huge chunk of text, especially when there is a sensitive information and we just want to make sure that we are really precise with all of the answers. We can just do it through the Firecrawl, format the text in the markdown, and then copying it and updating the knowledge base manually. This is how we are going to structure the Kurdistan knowledge base further, and this is how we usually structure all of the knowledge bases that we work with. Now let's go to the actual assistant and see how it's going to work. So I have a few questions here. Don't pay too much attention to details. I'm not gonna waste my time pausing and reading everything. You can just see how it responds, but essentially we're asking a question and it provides a response based on the knowledge base, and then asking additional question to clarify the intent of the user. And like intent, not in terms of for the classification, but more for getting all the information from the user. And this is done here. Obviously we are asking, okay, try to ask one question at a time after you provide a response, and then format it in bold text so that there is an answer and there is a text. Same thing if we maybe ask like another question, we will have another answer and then like another type of question that the bot will ask. And then if we try to talk to the agent, get all the information that we need, and then say something like, I want to talk to someone, so it will ask to provide the child name as well as the age. So we say Josh and he is 13 years old, because here, as you can see, it will not go to the booking step before we have the name, the age, and the current treatment that he received. Current treatment on therapist Josh is using actually none. So we provided, the 3 pieces of information, and now it will go through this flow and ask us to book an appointment. So here we choose the time that we need and, and input all of our contact information. Then we click, let's say I booked it. Now it will ask us to provide the reports, and here, as you can see, we are rendering an option to upload a file. So if I click here and let's say I will upload this file, it will output this file as a URL. Obviously, in the real use case, we're not going to do that, but this is a custom action which you can find here. That's why here in the embed, it's like it's much bigger because it's referencing this custom action. Again, go watch my video where I explain how the custom actions in Voiceflow works, but this is the only way how you can ask your users to upload certain information, that they need as a file. Okay, so then again, this is not how the prototype structure, but at the end it will send all the information. So we'll have probably something like a set AI that will analyze the whole conversation history, all these answers as well as all of our questions, and create short description of the case, as well as obviously we'll parse the transcript, and then it will say send everything to Airtable, right? So it will create a new record in Airtable with everything, and then it will match this record with the recent booking, and and now the agent will have all the information about the person, will try to qualify the prospect if he is qualified or not, and if he is, will continue with the booking. If not, they will just cancel it. So this is, guys, how we are planning to build this AI agent. I am honestly pretty proud of the solution. It's like very simple. It's very simple, right? It's just two flows with maybe with the Calendly embed as well as the custom actions and tabular data. It's nothing fancy, but it will help them to re-engage with the users, and you can see how many lives it can change, because it will try to ask users and help them to find the information they need faster. Because when people are looking for something like this, which is pretty sensitive, they want to receive a reply right away, as fast as possible. Even if they book a conversation, they still need to wait like 1 or 2 weeks before hopping into call. So that's where this comes in handy, by trying to provide value right away, so that maybe it will calm them down, or maybe it will provide them additional hope by giving as much resources as we possibly could. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. Again, Resource Hub, everything will be there. Peace.